I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, May the 13th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price. It's a generic Draxxin that you can save some money on, guys. That's the end of story. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards. Busy week at Joplin this week, just like every other week. We've got some different things going on here for the regular feeder cattle auction. They're going to start at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're expecting about 7,000 head of feeder cattle and calves here today on Monday. You can view and bid that sale at DVAuction.com. They are going to have a special cow sale on Wednesday the 15th here this week, starting at 4:30 in the afternoon after they have their regular weigh-up sale on Wednesday. Then they've got a Show Me Select Replacement Heifer sale going to be Friday at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday they're going to have a Certified Angus Beef BQA educational event on Saturday there at Joplin Regional Stockyards. So going to have a very busy week there at Joplin. They always have busy weeks there, but check them out for all your marketing needs. Severe weather. Last week was plagued with severe weather. Pretty much the whole eastern half of the country, if you split it up there through central Texas straight up, everything to the east had some kind of severe weather. A lot of tornadoes, a lot of bad winds, things like that, but they had moisture, and the moisture is a good thing. We saw the grains go up a little bit. There was some flooding in areas, but don't forget, drought is much more damaging to crops and pastures in the long run than some short-term flooding there. So we saw some flooding, and then we've had really wet conditions to the west here over the winter, and what this all has brought is we're in the best shape we've been in about 4 years as far as drought. The drought monitor is showing that we are over 65% of the country with no level of drought. That is unbelievable. That's really, really good. And like I said, it's been nearly 4 years since we've been that well. And you look, and the only places that you see any drought really to speak of, or any severe drought, is down in southern New Mexico, right there on the border. There's some spots in extreme West Texas. There is some spot right there in the hill country of Texas, and they are in badly need some runoff water down there. But they've had some rains here this spring, and then a little spot or two up there in western Montana. But you look at the rest of the country, and it's all setting really good. This is about as good as it gets, guys, and almost everybody I've talked to says their pastures are in really good shape, and everybody's excited about this summer grazing season. I wanted to tell you about an event I went to on Friday night. It was at Lone Star Stockyards there in Wildoretta, Texas, just west of Amarillo on I-40 there. That's the newest stockyard in the Southwest, guys. But they had a fundraiser, and the fundraiser actually went to Working Ranch Cowboys Cowboy Crisis Fund, but it was particularly for the fire victims there, and there's been a lot of fundraisers for the fire victims, but we had several donated items, some donated cattle, saddles, things like that. I never did hear the final tally on it, but we all ate good beef, and we had a good time, and raised a lot of money there for the fire victims there. They had live music there on the parking lot. It was a beautiful evening, no wind or anything, and we all had a good time. Personally, it was special for me because Bill Martin, the manager there in Trey Naramore, the regular auctioneer, allowed me to get up and help sell some of the items. And right after I went was a kind of an icon in the auction business, Spanky Assiter of the classic car auctions fame there. I got to sell with him, so I just keep knocking them down. I've sold with Ralph, I've sold with Spanky now, I've sold with Kenny Wilcox, I've sold with Chuck Bradley, I've sold with a lot more of the top auctioneers that I consider to be the best. So it's just fun for me, and I always enjoy doing that kind of stuff. If you guys are looking for some cattle, you need some cattle to turn out, you're not having any luck finding them, you can get a hold of them at EC Cattle Company. That's Ellis and Carter at Santo, Texas, which is down there by Weatherford, Texas there. He's got buyers and all the sales there in Central Texas, and he says the runs have been light. It's been really wet around, but he can find you some cattle there, and you can just give him a call there. But it's EllisandCarterCattle.com, and it's a family operation there. If you get the contact information, either talk to Ellison himself or talk to his brother James. Got two boys working in the office. Got Walton, Nathan, he's normally out in the pens, the shipping pens there. His wife Kayla works in there. And like I said, it's just a real nice family atmosphere there. And then if anything really needs to get straightened out, which they have any problems, then you bring Renee in, which is Ellison's wife, and you don't want that to happen. But I'm sure that won't happen. But if you need some calves, get a hold of them there and see what it would take to get them. I'm going to give you a rundown of what he shipped on Sunday. These are delivered prices to Oklahoma, western Kansas, places like that there. Mostly the Texas Panhandle and western Oklahoma, out of North Texas there. And these are delivered prices on steers and bulls. Be good enough quality, good enough to go anywhere. Nothing fancy, but Central Texas cattle. Load weight 270 pounds, steers and bulls at 340 and a half delivered. Load weight 330 at 337. Load at 415 pounds at 310.75. Load of plainer steers and bulls weighed 545 at 253 and a quarter. They'd be colored up a little bit and have a tick of ear on them. And then another fancier load, 670 pound, all steers at 252 delivered. Look at the heifers, 325 pound heifers at 316.50, batch weight 365 at 310.75, load weight 490 at 244.75, another bunch weight 505 at 274.50. You notice those 5 weights right on the 5 are actually higher than some of the 4 weights, and that happens because that's where all the orders come for on them. 565 pound heifers at 250, 275, and a bunch weight 620 at 230 and a half. That's EllisandCarterCattle.com. Talk about your board for last week. June live cattle futures. Monday was up 30 cents. Tuesday was up 65. Wednesday down 115. Thursday down 52. And Friday was up 20 cents. With June contracts on live cattle ending the week at 176.15. That was down 52 cents for the week. August contracts ended the week at 174.12, down 45 cents for the week, which is not a big deal there. But May feeder cattle, Monday was down 190, Tuesday up 75, and then it was down. Wednesday down $1.95, Thursday down $1.55. Friday was up, but only 15 cents, and your May feeder cattle contracts ended the week $4.50 lower than the end of previous week at 238.80. Now that's below our cash index levels. Normally they're out a little bit ahead, but that's below your cash index levels. I think it could come back here early this week. August feeder cattle contracts ended the week at 250.90, which is a big jump up from May, but it was also down 385 for the week. Look at your grains. I'm going to talk about May grains one more time. We're going to go to July here this week, but May corn into the week at 455 3/4, which was up 8 3/4 cents for the week. May beans ended the week at 1205, up 3 1/4. May Kansas City hard red winter wheat has gone off the board at 697 1/4. That was up 37 1/4 cents. Fat cattle trade through Thursday of last week, they'd sold 15,400 head in the entire 5-area feeding region. So nothing really happened at all until late Thursday after the deadline to turn that in, and then on Friday. So that's when we established your market. And it's going to be mostly steady. Now I'm thinking that your dressed weighted average could be a little bit higher, and your live weighted average is going to be pretty close to steady. But last week up through Thursday, they'd sold live fat steers and heifers in the 5-area feeding region from 183 to 187. That was steady to a buck higher. Your dress sales from 294 to 296. That was steady to $2 higher. But on Friday is when we saw the trade. In Iowa, they sold 15,300 on Friday, 23,300 for the week. Live sales 185 to 188. Dress sales 294 to 296. Nebraska sold 12,500 on Friday, 13,600 for the week. Live sales in Nebraska 186 to 187. Dress sales 295 to 296. Kansas sold 6,700 head on Friday, 10,800 for the week. Live sales in Kansas on Friday 183 to 185. Heavy on the 184, but a fair amount of 185. Texas only sold 600 on Friday up through the 2 o'clock deadline, 2,800 for the week, all at 184. Box beef cutout values last week were a little higher on the choice, but a little lower on the select. So we're not able to get anything going there too much. But your weighted average on all of last week's sales on choice was $2.27 higher than the weighted average previous week at $296.78. But your late Friday sales were a little more than $2 lower than that. Your weighted average on all your select sales last week was 72 cents lower at $288.06. And your late Friday sales are about $4 lower than that to end the week. But on that weighted average, your choice select spread was $8.72, and all that established on cuts, grinds, and trimmings of 651 loads. Your slaughter last week, pretty decent actually, 622,000, exactly the same as the previous week, which was surprisingly good. But both of those 22,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on DVAuction ended the week at 242.31. That's based on an 800-pound cash auction steer. That was 82 cents higher than the end of the previous week. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, 240.61. Your trends in your sale barns last week opened the week lower, mostly on higher corn, but opened the week lower in your big high volume Monday sales. They were steady to $3 lower, but by Wednesday they started gaining some ground, and your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday sales were mostly $1 to $4 higher. So we ended up just a pinch higher by the end of the week, which was indicated there on your real-time index. But your weaned calves were pretty good all week, $5 to $10 higher where you saw them, your fall weaned calves there. And stockers were kind of mixed in there. We've about seen the last of our stockers. Where you see them, they really sell well, but we don't see those calf weight yearling stockers very often this late in the year. Where they had a big sale late last week was in Fort Pierre, South Dakota. Fort Pierre Livestock Auction had 5,000 head there. Feeder steers were steady to $2 higher. Feeder heifers were $1 to $3 higher. The stockers that they had, the stocker steers, were steady to $2 lower than 2 weeks before, and but they still sold some cattle pretty darn impressive there. You look at these 85 stocker steers, weighed 631, they bring 324. Wow, that doesn't seem much lower there. And then they had replacement heifers there. Several groups sold for replacement, including these 63 replacement heifers, weighed 886 and bring 261 at Fort Pierre Livestock Auction, Fort Pierre, South Dakota. How about some individual quotes? How about Fort Scott Livestock Market in Fort Scott, Kansas? 119 steers weighed 919 on Saturday and bring 239. Pretty impressive there. How about my buddy Tato Medina down at Santa Teresa, New Mexico, right on the border, selling Mexican steers coming into the United States at auction. 57 Mexican steers weighed 447, bring 322. How about that special sale on Friday that I told you guys about last week? Payne County Stockyards in Perkins, Oklahoma. That's Jared Branch and company there. They're doing a good job building that sale. First big special they've had there in a long time. Amongst many load lots they had, I thought the most impressive was 50 head of steers, weighed 1098 or 1,100 pounds at 204.75 there in western Oklahoma, guys. But most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, your Mackerson No BS top quote for the day, come out of Fort Pierre Livestock Auction, Fort Pierre, South Dakota. It was some black fall calves there. 66 steers weighed 557 and bring 360. That's your feeder flash for Monday.